Welcome to Future Foodcast. I'm Pam Linemiller, your host. Thank you so much to our sponsor, Farm to Plate. They are creating tomorrow's food business ecosystem today, and you can find out more about them at farmtoplate.io. We have a man from across the world from me in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to talk to us today, Zulfiqar Hamadani. He is the CEO of Tanmiah Foods. Welcome to the podcast, Zulfiqar.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here, and thanks for inviting me over.
We are so excited to jump in. You are a seasoned professional in the food industry, and I would love to know what you're currently working on, and we can jump into your background as well in a bit.
Okay, so it's interesting that you call me a seasoned professional of food industry because I'm an accountant by profession.
True.
Yeah, I started with PwC auditing and doing my chartered accountancy. And then I moved around in several industries, which had absolutely nothing to do with food. I joined Tanmiah back in 2008 as CFO. And since then, I have progressed into several operational roles. I was Chief Operating Officer in 2013. That's when our turnaround started, and I became CEO in 2018. We became a listed company in 2021, and I'm very proud to say that since 2013, the company has grown 10 times, and it's still not stopped.
Oh my goodness, that is quite a track record. Well, you're a seasoned professional in multiple industries, let's say that. In addition to the food industry, 10 times. That's
10 times.
I don't think there are many companies that can say that. Would you like to share how you have gone about accomplishing that amidst the environment that we're in really for the past 10, 11, 12 years to have that growth?
So Tanmiah has been around for quite some time. I mean, the business was started back in 1962 by our founding chairman, Mr. Abdullah Al-Dabah, who was also the Minister of Agriculture of Saudi Arabia. He started this business after retiring from public life in 1962 with a small feed mill in the western coastal city of Jeddah. The feed mill is still there, by the way. It still operates. And then it grew into a small broiler farming operation. But it was always going to be challenging to grow chicken in the middle of the desert. The temperatures, if I were to convert them into Fahrenheit, which I'm not very good at, so I'll stick to Celsius just to make sure that the information I'm passing on is accurate. So the temperature in this part of the world in the nights in January goes below zero. And in July, August, midday, it exceeds 50 degrees. So you can imagine the kind of temperature variation we have. So chicken is not native to this part of the world. So growing chicken was always a challenge. We had mortality issues, we had cost issues, and all that stuff. In 2013, we decided to kind of give it a final shot if we could make money out of this business, consistently. And it worked. We empowered our farm managers, operators. We brought in, I think the only thing which I did as the leader was to build a team around me, which was young, which was willing to learn new things, not scared of experimenting. And since then, we have progressed, at times surprising myself as well, with the achievements we have had. We are now beating consistently the best KPIs from around the world in poultry production, be it the feed conversion ratios or mortality or the farming days. And we have so many firsts in the region and a couple of them in the world as well. And then in 2015, when the government of Saudi Arabia announced its 2030 vision, which also included food security initiative. That really helped us because we were already kind of prepared to grow. We had cracked the code, if you will, of growing chicken in the middle of the desert, beating the climate. And that really helped us. And we then grew more exponentially than we were doing before. And then from 2020 onwards, post-COVID, all the skepticism globally around this food security initiative that, I mean, there were companies who would talk to us that when you can import chicken, why do you want to grow them? But after the disruption of supply chains during COVID, I think this stance of the government was vindicated, sort of. And then we saw a lot of investment coming in. We ourselves partnered with Tyson Foods of US. So we now have a joint venture in the region, which envisages much bigger geography than just the Middle East. We are partners with the MHP, the biggest or one of the biggest poultry producers of Europe. And we are truly a company which is farm to fork. So we have our farms, our feed mills, hatcheries, slaughterhouses, a distribution network, and we have our restaurants business. We are the master franchisees in the region of Popeyes, the best chicken in the world. And we use our chicken, unlike the majority of the fast food chains here, which rely mostly on imported chicken. We use our fresh chicken every day supplied to our restaurants. And now we are growing in the other Gulf countries with this brand. So, I mean, we have covered a lot of distance, but the journey continues. And that's the fun part of it.
That is the fun part. I would like to go a little bit slower through several of the things that you brought up in that timeline and that history, Zulfiqar, because there's some key initiatives there. First of all, you talked about even having chicken in the climate that you're in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Let's start there, because those were the obstacles in 2013 that you decided to bring in a great team, smart, innovative, young, and ambitious, and you empowered them to try to figure out how to grow chicken. I guess grow chicken is the correct terminology. In the desert. Now, the climate is one, and we do have a worldwide audience, so Celsius is just fine. And for those of us in the Fahrenheit countries, it's really cold and it's really hot. So that's how we would go. But with the chicken and the temperatures, what are some of those? Because you also were able to figure out your environment in a sustainable way, going around to really the last point. Can you share with us what actually you do to make this successful in your environment?
So I think the majority of our investment goes into the climate control poultry houses that we build, because they really need to be insulated, and we should be able to control the temperature. And that's where empowering the farm management comes into play. We have our farms scattered all around Saudi Arabia, literally. And for me to be here sitting with assurance that exactly at this hour something is happening at the farm which should be happening is only possible if the farm manager owns that or feel that ownership of the flock he's managing. So we have a very robust training program. We have a very effective and, I would say, enticing career progression. So, I mean, our production director started as a farm manager 10 years ago. So, and he has progressed since then into that role. Of course, the company invested into his training. So, training is important. Career path is the second thing we brought into play. And I think the last thing is the incentives, the commissions, the bonuses. So, we really made it simple for the farm management. You get incentivized on what you control end to end. We are not going to talk about the feed conversion ratios because somebody else is making feed for you. You have no control over that. We are not going to talk about the profitability of the company. If you are able to give me chicken of this weight after these many days, you will get your money. So that was very important. And similarly, we went to the sales team and we told them that, okay, if you get us this selling price, we are going to, and these volumes are to be sold. Because remember, growing 10 times also puts a lot of load on sales team, because they have to sell so many more tonnage of product in the market. So with all that, the whole team, I think, bought into this ambition, this idea. And then the last bit is the sense of pride. When we are recognized at several fora, be it the industry related, be it our breed owners, Aviagen, whose breed we use here, we then make sure that we take the junior staff there on the stage, that these are the guys who made it possible. So all that, I think, has really helped us growing. And there have been a couple of initiatives, like in over here, the local cuisine requires a much smaller bird. In US terms, a 2.5 pounds maximum of live weight, which cannot be used for further processing to make them into burgers and nuggets, etc. That was always imported. So in 2017, I kind of became bored of growing chicken every day. So I said, okay, let's go ahead and why don't we start growing bigger birds, which was considered to be an impossibility because of the climate challenges, because of the disease profile of the country. But we gave it a try. We were successful. And then we got some major fast food chains buying into that product. Because it's much more flavorful. It makes a lot of economic sense. So with all that falling into place, luck played a role also. And I say luck played a role because of COVID. When imports were disrupted, where do you get your product from? Tanmiah. So that also helped. But I'm very happy and proud that we did not let the ball drop anywhere. And that is only possible when you have a very committed, well-trained team working like a Swiss watch, literally, because it's a daily thing. It's fresh chicken delivered to 7,000 locations every day.
Amazing. Amazing. So I'm hearing you not only made the infrastructure investment in the operation, in the chicken houses that you created specifically for your environment. But then I think, and a lot of our listeners that are in the food industry somehow, they're all talking about people and having trouble keeping good people. I hear your leadership style is we're going to incent people for what they have control over, not give them, bottom line numbers that they can't actually achieve because they aren't in control of getting to that number. But you looked at each of the job functions, and that creates the culture that you have. Everyone is working together, and all of you are moving forward to hit the KPIs, or sounds like knock them out of the park. You're over hitting some of your indicators in your business because people are incented to do that and they love to do that. You're recognizing them. When you go out as a team, the whole team is responsible. We all did this together. And there's a lot of lessons in just that little bit. Thank you for sharing that with us. But then you move forward because the whole supply chain issue, you're right. When COVID hit, people realized what was happening. You had already decided, I'm going to be the local supplier. But some of those other companies that might have been getting supplies shipped in from other countries, they had to take a different look at you, didn't they, at that point?
Yes, of course. So, where it really helps is that at times it is difficult to get the customer taste your product, just try it out. That gave us that opportunity that, okay, fine, just try it out. If you like it, fine. If you don't like it, and mostly we are dealing with these restaurants, okay, put it on in your restaurant for a day, for a week. We'll fund part of it. So if your consumers love it, fine, we'll start discussing future. If they don't, fine, we will just withdraw our product. And that really helped. People liked the freshness of the product. The consumers really loved the idea that it was fresh chicken. It was not imported. It was slaughtered in Saudi Arabia, so met all the halal standards. And the product profile, the flavorfulness, if that is the right word, of the product, because it's more like a sponge, so it absorbs all the spices and things. So it's a very different product.
Absolutely. And I just like the approach that you have. You're not forcing them. Try it. If you like it, then we'll talk. And if not, I mean, that's part of your marketing and sales budget, is to have some product out there for people to try. So that was definitely a worthwhile risk. Not even a risk. It's just a reason.
Investment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an investment which we kind of knew already that it's going to get us the dividends, because we had tested it before at our partners who had a stronger relationship with us, who were more forthcoming with the idea. So it was easier investment to make during those days when we knew that our product is much superior.
Well, and you talked about also being in line with the halal procedure, just being in concert with what is expected. And that's not the only certification you have, though. You also pay attention to your animals, which I think is important for people. Well, but you actually have people come in and certify you for the animal welfare. I think that's an important point to make.
Exactly, it is. Thank you for bringing it up. While there are certain local animal welfare standards that we need to comply with, and we have the Saudi Food and Drug Authority, which is a very active and a government agency, which is like FDA of US. So we have to comply with those standards. But I'm also very happy that we are the only company certified for animal welfare by the likes of NSC, by McDonald's, by all the other major QSR chains, the only company in the region, not only in the country. So we went the extra mile to get those certifications, and I think those are paying the dividends now. And it's also very simple. It was very surprising for me. I thought that we'll have to make a lot of investment and it would be very difficult, very tedious. But no, it was not. It was just doing the same thing slightly better than what we were doing at other places. It was more about documenting our procedures, but there was nothing that we needed to do extra per se. So that was an important certification. And all these things have also helped us in realizing that we can compete internationally, and that has given us the audacity, if that is the right word, to look beyond the region. Being a Middle Eastern agricultural company, now we are looking at more of a global stage with all our partnerships. And one more important thing, which is kind of linked with animal welfare, is the sustainability story of Tanmiah.
Yes.
So our ambition is to be the global leader in sustainable halal protein by 2030. That is our ambition. And there are a ton of sustainability initiatives and projects that we have that, for example, for most of your listeners, it may not sound a big thing, but trust me, in the middle of the desert, it's a huge thing that we have started to plant trees using poultry waste. We have got about 500,000 trees already in the middle of the desert, red sand, and we have tall eucalyptus and some other trees standing there. And the idea is that the processing plant water after treating, we use that in drip irrigation model, and we take out the poultry farm waste and use it as the soil. And the advantage of that is, that being the CEO, yes, we would love to do those things because they're good for the planet, but they are also good for our P&L. They are not a drag on my profitability. They, in fact, provide the tailwind. And how do they do that? Yes, it's a big marketing story. Yes. People love that. But it also helps us when, for example, the day-old chicks come to the farms. We need wood shave as the bedding there for those little day-old chicks. Where do you get the wood shave from in the middle of the desert? So
I don't know.
Exactly. So we really had to struggle to get those suppliers. And when the suppliers come in, you never know how sterilized they are. So you had to spend a lot of money on sterilizing that and disinfectants and all that. But now we shave off the branches and leaves of these trees that we have, and we use them as the wood shaving. They are fresh wood shave. We know where they are coming from, so we don't use any disinfectants on them. So all that is adding money to our bottom line. So that's kind of sustainability projects are what we are working on. There's another very interesting project that we did. So we have this program, what we call Omnipreneurship Sustainability Challenge. Now, omnipreneurship is a homegrown concept which has its principles and rules, but this challenge is about throwing a challenge to the innovators and scientists of the world and asking them that, okay, whoever can come up with the winning solution, we would pay them $1 million plus reimbursement of the costs and proof of concept. And then they also get an opportunity to become our joint venture partners in that initiative. So our first award in 2022 went to this group of PhD students. And we use this platform, by the way, based out of Switzerland. And it is truly a global invitation to innovators. Okay. So we get from Europe, US, China, Korea, everywhere. So the first award was won by a group of PhD students from a local Saudi university who could make poultry farm waste into plastic.
Oh my goodness.
And that, yeah, so that was, again, like, how? And that is not only a biodegradable plastic. That plastic is good nutrition for the bacteria which fertilizes the soil. So it enhances the fertility of the soil. So we now have a project going on where we want to commercialize this. My own aim is to evolve this technology to, right now it is up to agricultural level plastic that we are making, but my aim is to evolve this technology and develop it to a point where we have a plastic good enough to pack my chicken in it.
Oh, so that'd be fabulous.
It would be, exactly. So the sustainability is also a key to our growth story and our future strategy. And such innovative projects are really helping us progress. So yes, it's exciting.
Well, and just, I think, continually taking a look at your operations and what are we bringing in from the outside or paying extra for or having to spend extra money on that we could maybe do better ourselves, and just evaluating that. Your tree story with the shavings and not having to sterilize them, you know where they're coming from, they're a lot fresher. You can use the parts of the trees that you want. And plus, for the environment around where all those trees are, that's better for that as well. And so you're able to use some of your excess from your poultry farming operation to actually plant the trees in and nourish them. I mean, it's just a circle there. And then this plastic innovation that came out of your contest. I imagine the contest every year is really, you probably want to fund all of the projects or a good number of the projects that get submitted. You may have to move beyond just one.
Of course. So it's a yearly thing.
Yeah.
So now we are working on another project where the challenge is that for growing chicken in Saudi Arabia, we would be reliant or dependent very heavily on importation of feedstock. So grains, corn, soya, etc. So could there be a solution to that? Can we have something here grown in our kind of soil with our kind of climate, which could be used for even partially eliminating that dependence, and which could be used for feeding chicken? So, and again, I don't want to disclose too much detail of that, but we have some magnificent, amazing ideas.
That's so exciting. And maybe we can have you back on next year or the year after to hear some of the results of what you're doing. And because there are other countries that are of a similar climate, they might have a different land makeup and maybe the temperatures might be a little bit different. But I know that you are establishing some operations that can be put into other countries that are having the same challenges. And we can, like you said, moving global, solve some of those issues across the globe in climates that typically haven't been thought of to have chicken operations. People just dismiss it out of hand, but you've been able to solve some of the problems to make it a viable option. more than viable. Success, you're thriving. It's more than viable.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. It is amazing what we humans can achieve if we just put our heads together and cooperate rather than competing. I think I learn a new thing every day because of this, because I have a team which is daily working on new ideas, new solutions, and every day we are improving. So it's an amazing experience.
I think what I'm hearing out of all of our conversation here is that your secret sauce as a leader and as a company and for your future success really is your people.
Could it be anything else? I ask myself this: could it be anything else? I think it's at the end of the day, it's all about people, especially in agricultural business. We are working on AI, we are working on automation. We have all those things in, but at the end of the day, it's the people. So I do ask myself this question, and the answer is a question itself. Could it be anything else?
Yes. I don't I don't think so, but I know that that's a rhetorical question. We have I love the information that you shared with us about what's going on at your company and just the innovation that you're bringing to the entire industry and really the thought processes. Just because you have an obstacle or a challenge doesn't mean it can't be done. Take can't out of your vocabulary, figure out how can we do that. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience before you go today?
Nothing in special, but I think there is so much what is happening in the food industry today. So much of innovation. We see plant-based protein idea. We see lab-based meat ideas. So there's so much happening here, and I think we can work together. I mean, as I said, that we have built partnerships, and every day we learn so many new things from our partners and vice versa. So there's so much happening, and all we need in this industry is new talent. So students should work towards food safety and production and agricultural sciences because the potential is enormous, and the planet and the 10 billion people population needs a lot of healthy food. So we need to move away from unhealthy food, because I've given up on healthier living habits. So that I've given up on. So I need all the help from food, and healthier, more nutritious food is what the world needs. And we all need to work towards that.
Thank you for those words. And I think, our health is probably 80% of what we actually consume. So you're right on with wanting to have healthier food for a healthier planet. Thank you so much for being with us, Zulfiqar. I really, really enjoyed our conversation today. And if our audience out there enjoyed it as well, please leave us a comment, let us know, and subscribe to us so you can get an issue from us every week. Until next week, I'm Pam Line-Miller.
Thanks for listening to Future Foodcast. Future Foodcast is powered by Farm to Plate, the leading food blockchain platform. Subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to stay up to date with the very latest innovations in the food industry.